As adults, why do we cheat ourselves out of things we really want that are calling to us that we desire with the excuse that we don't have enough time? Why don't we just make the time? What is that about? We've been talking about your sound and about what violin teaching doesn't match up if you are an adult student and you are coming back to the instrument after a while, or you've just always yearned, wanted, it's been calling to you and you finally are ready to answer the call. Going back to a method or a teaching structure that was made for young people doesn't necessarily serve you. And that's okay. And there are people that are adapting it or making it better. But what if there's something new and revolutionary and made just for you that's already been proven and tested on adults just like you who want to feel that music, who know that it's a calling? We talked about confidence and we talked about your brain and neuroplasticity and improving your life and your relationships and your ionization of your body, your positive ions, your oxidation. How freaking cool is it that you can play the violin and make every part of your life better? And this matters so much because it has nothing to do with how many hours you practice or if you're working on a concerto versus, popular music. None of that matters. What matters is that you get to connect with your instrument, connect with yourself, and feel through what you're playing on a higher level than you did the month before or the week before, the year before, or long ago. And I want to kind of put all of this together today with one thing that ties it all together, because as adults, we always feel like we need more time. We don't have enough time. If I just had more time, I would do things differently. You don't need more time. You just need the right method and the right people around you while you use it. If we haven't met yet, I'm EP Archer, and I help committed adults improve their quality of life with music. And this episode is the last in a 5-part series, and today I want to bring it home and open a door for you. I'm so excited to talk about this because there are so many left brain practical solutions to the problem of time, right? And you probably have heard some of them, if not all of them. If you're somebody who's been trying to insert something into your schedule or take more meaningful time to sit with yourself, with your children, with your life, with your adventure, with your work, whatever the case may be, maybe with a good book that you just opened up. We just saw the Project Hail Mary movie and I immediately downloaded the book because I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many details and I want to make time to sit with this, to listen to it or to read it. And so we know that the trick and the structure, the 1% rule. If you haven't read Atomic Habits by James Clear, I know I've recommended that book before, but it is always on my top 10 list. It is that thing that is so hard to see in the moment where 1% of improvement over time after a year leads to 37% improvement. It doesn't seem like it should be so exponential, but it is. So organizing our time into tiny bites, like if you can do 5 minutes of practice a day, that will increase and build differently than an hour a week will, even though it ends up being much less than an hour a week. And so we know the tricks of putting it into our schedule, of putting it in a Google Calendar, of attaching it to a different idea. But what about camaraderie? What about community? What about just wanting to do it and running to it and finding that you're just making time everywhere you are and in every situation because it lights you up again? What if that could be the case? We all know the saying, I'll do it when I have more time, or I can only have this much time, or I can't invest that much time. But the truth of the matter is time is a choice. And there is this funny demonstration that Tony Robbins does in his conferences. And people will say, well, I just don't have time. And he'll say, give me your phone. And he literally takes their cell phone, right? And he goes through it and goes to the screen time app and says, wow, 9 hours a day on your phone or whatever the case may be. Do you think you could devote 30 minutes or 1 hour of that? And I would put that question to the test. Is there a 15-minute pocket that you would be willing to trade out for your violin to feel better about every category of your life? But adding on the motivation and the desire and the support and the community is a game changer. It's not just scheduling time, making a choice, like attuning and showing up for yourself. It's even more than that. If you've been going it alone with YouTube or books or lessons or even weekly lessons, if they're not just occasional, your progress is more than likely way slower than it could be. You know what you want to sound like, but the gap between what you hear in your head or what you hear on a recording and where you are feels wide. And closing that gap feels nebulous. It's not certain how many techniques or studies or etudes or exercises you're going to have to do to close that gap. And it can be frustrating quickly and discouraging often. But what if that gap just isn't about your time or your talent? What if it's just the method and the support that you have 24/7 all week long, having a community of people doing the same thing? There's a reason why working together and showing up together makes way more progress. Athletes progress better on a team than working out by themselves, or even with a one-on-one expert coach in their field. They still make better progress as a team. You see your peers, you understand their questions, you get to benefit from their transformation and their struggle, and they benefit from yours. And that vulnerability and that connection fuels your journey. And it helps you in so many different layers, not just in musical technique, but in knowing you're not alone, in bonding with people who are going through the same, and in commitment and accountability. And you just can't have all of those things any other way. We all know the cliches and the phrases. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And the right community keeps you practicing the right things. And there are way too many data and research studies that prove adults learn faster together. Those are the musicians who have the breakthroughs, the musicians that find their people. And even solo artists, when they work with that right producer and group of people and tour, that is where things come together in this beautiful, explosive way. So the physics matters. The exercise you're doing matters. The method that is geared exactly towards you matters, because confidence is a byproduct of having something to say. And being confident without a good tone is not a thing. You're not going to be confident if you don't like your sound, if you don't feel like you're making the sound that you could. And playing violin, although it's rewiring your heart system, it's rewiring your neuroplasticity, if it's not enjoyable, is not going to be a lasting activity that you want to do that changes your life. And to change your life, you've got to stick with it. So let's make it clear. There are a couple paths we can take. We can go it alone. We can figure it out piece by piece. We can hope that the YouTube rabbit hole lands us somewhere. We can even take lessons one-on-one and get expert feedback, which is a step up from that. But what if you could have that expert feedback and the support of other people doing the same thing in a 24/7 forum where you could ask questions, where you could get feedback, where you could have camaraderie with people doing the exact same thing? If you've ever done that before for any other subject, you know that it works. That's why it's the university model. That's why when you get certifications, that's the same model. And so higher education has had this figured out for a really long time. And somehow when we describe something as a hobby or an activity, we back off a little bit and we maybe don't show up all the way with our heart on our sleeve because it's vulnerable and it can be like a little bit intimidating, but that is worth it. To face that fear, to know that the other people feel the same way and they have the same goals, and to show up in the same room, just like business networking. If you're a part of a small business network, or if you're part of a professional organization where you show up to workshops and to better yourself through learning, or to yoga or a group sports class, it's the same deal. When I show up to Kung Fu, I am not the expert resident 5th degree master, and I'm not the most athletic person there, but I don the gi and I tie the knot in my belt and I show up, and I've done that enough to get a black belt and to feel more safe in the world and to connect with so many other humans that are way over 30 doing their thing. And I want you to be able to experience that with your violin, with Kung Fu if you want to, with your life expanding through your heart space. The people who play violin and break through aren't more talented. They're not practicing more hours. They found the right method and the right people who take it as seriously as they do and find joy in doing so. That combination, method plus community, with that expert feedback, instead of going it alone with just a lesson or going it alone on your own journey through YouTube and books and frustrated practice, turns a struggle into real growth. It capitalizes on things that feel challenging instead of letting those defeat you. And it's what these last 5 episodes have been building towards all week. So I cannot wait to speak with you directly. If you're thinking about this, you don't have to wait any longer to play the violin. And if you're already playing it and you're frustrated, we are here for you. You've been listening because something in you is ready. It's just a question of whether you keep going it alone or go farther with people who care and who get it. You already know which one sounds better. We have a free group for committed adults who want to be serious about violin growth and their quality of life. Just grab that link and let's make it better today. I can't wait to chat with you. Because if you're over 30 and you play the violin and you're battling tone and you're not having any confidence to share what it is you're working on, we have a solution for you with Violin Unlocked, using the trademarked somatic resonance for violin method and led by an expert with 30 years of experience. Let me compact time for you. Let me eliminate this struggle and turn your challenges into victories. Just come and say hi in the group and let's have a quick conversation so I can help you today. I can't wait to meet you and see you on the other side of this journey. Let's make it happen.